The future of AEW is MyAEW. We'll get into a big thing that has happened for AEW this week, as well as go over Monday Night Raw, the Raw after WrestleMania. Was it good? Welcome back, everybody, to Screw the Script. I'm your host, as always, Maverick here. Thanks for joining me on this Tuesday. Regular video drop, regular time at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. Let's get right into it. We'll start with WWE quick because I'm only going to be talking about it for a few minutes in this video, and then we'll get into all of the AEW stuff that I have to talk about. Monday Night Raw, the Raw after WrestleMania, typically the best Raw of the year, and it was average at best. It was your typical Raw of the last few years now that they have been under TKO. It was drawn out, full of ads and promos and segments that was a bunch of fluff that was not needed. Look at the rating up here, 6.51 at the time of the recording, which is slightly above average for cage match ratings because they do a 1 to 10 scale. And I guess for most people, they would say 5 is average and then going up from there. I think this is a little bit high of a rating, to be honest. I think I would set it right around 5, 5.5 maybe. As, again, it just wasn't very good. There was little wrestling once again. If you go over here, Rio, which is Io Sky and Rhea Ripley, defeated the Kabuki Warriors. Barely over 10 minutes. Ethan Page made his debut against Javon Evans, not even 10 minutes. Liv Morgan defeated Sol Ruca, who made her debut a little over 11 minutes, about 12. And then Finn Balor defeats JD McDonough, 6 minutes only, one of the worst main events for a Raw after WrestleMania ever. But let's talk about the only good that came out of this Raw. 2 things only for me. Obafemi, short and sweet promo. He comes out to a roaring applause. Honestly, he's at WCW Goldberg level. I love it. It's one of the few little things in WWE that I actually am thoroughly enjoying in 2026. Are the NXT call-ups recently. Hopefully they do well by Ethan Page and Sol Ruca. We'll get to them in a minute. But Obafemi beating Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Someone in the comments on my last video wanted to make note that Brock Lesnar isn't officially retired, which kind of stole the thunder of Obafemi winning after he just went off script. I think that's what the X meant when he threw up the sign after the match. I thought about it further. I feel like Lesnar did that because it was his last WrestleMania. There's been rumors for a few months now that he's going to retire at SummerSlam because SummerSlam is actually right next door to me over at the US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And that is where he's been billed from his whole career. He wrestled for the U of M. So if anything, he's going to go out at SummerSlam. But I do agree that it did steal some of the thunder for Obafemi. So a little weird there for WWE. But they had a video package for Lesnar on this past Monday Night Raw. And you know what? Lesnar is a very divisive character. You either love him or you hate him. He's had history. He's had this stuff with Vince McMahon. Say what you want about all that stuff. But Brock Lesnar, the pro wrestler, truly one of a kind. He had the I Stand Alone song for the song for that video package. And you know what? I actually really enjoyed it. Again, setting all of his personal stuff aside and the stuff that has gone on with Vince McMahon, Brock Lesnar, the wrestler, there's no one else like him. There probably never will be anyone like him ever again. Obafemi is the closest to it that they have in WWE now. He went over, he comes out on Raw and says 4 words, "The ruler is here," or something like that. I forget exactly what it was. Short and sweet and to the point. He's very green on the mic still, obviously, so they're going to have to work with him on that. Or they just give him a mouthpiece. Maybe Paul Heyman moves on to him at some point. Regardless, that was one of only 2 things that I liked on this whole show. The only other one was the NXT call-ups. Sol Ruca did really well. Honestly, I'm going to sit here right now and say that their match on Raw last night was better than all the women's matches at WrestleMania. And that is bad. Going back to WrestleMania, it was probably one of the worst WrestleManias in years, especially night 1. That was a clusterfuck, and the women were not featured very well at all at WrestleMania. I think total, all of their matches combined to be less than 45 minutes. It was not good at all. This match was a lot better than every WrestleMania women's match that they had. And then Ethan Page ended up beating Javon Evans. I'm okay with this because Javon just recently got called up. Ethan Page now called up. And Ethan Page is a lot older than Javon. I think he's older than by over 10 years. I think he's mid-30s. And it's kind of feeding into the WWE issue. Yes, Javon Evans is getting pushed, but they jump a guy who literally just shows up, beats Javon Evans, and he's over 10 years older than him. So likely, long-term, he's probably going to get the push before Javon actually does. And it's just further proving my point that WWE waits too damn long to push talent. Start pushing these guys. Make them heavyweight champ. Make them WWE champ before they're 30. What is so scary about that, WWE? TKO officially came out saying that they are head of creative. They make the final calls. Triple H is kind of just their mouthpiece in a sense. So Triple H, do something. Talk to TKO. Talk to the board. Have them change the structure in WWE because it is a much needed change. And then the bad. The rest of the show was pretty much bad. I didn't like either of the initial women's match that started the show. I thought that was boring. And then Finn Balor versus JD. Balor comes out to his OG theme and entrance gear and attire and the whole ordeal. That was great and all, but the match felt so empty. It was bland. It was, I say cookie cutter all the time. Very much so a cookie cutter match. And it didn't even go 7 minutes. For your main event, for your Raw after WrestleMania, that is a huge fail. Overall, a very underwhelming Raw once again. But what else is new with WWE? Now getting into AEW stuff for the rest of this video. No more WWE stuff. We'll start with the big news first. MyAEW is definitely the future for AEW. As you see up here, AEW officially is done with Triller TV. They went out saying, we're writing to let you know that AEW Plus is being discontinued. AEW and ROH pay-per-views are also no longer available for purchase on Triller TV. If you have an active AEW Plus subscription, it will end on your next billing date. You'll have full access until that date. Any pay-per-views you've previously purchased will remain available to watch in your account. So for people who have been using it in the past, it's not like all the stuff that they spend their money on is going to be gone forever. It won't. It'll stay there. I have some AEW pay-per-views purchased on HBO Max. I have some on Prime. I think I bought one or two on YouTube as well at some point. But they're all there still, which is great. But the bigger thing here is MyAEW is starting to become AEW's version of the WWE Network, where I think it won't fail because, for one, it has a much better price and value than what you got with MyAEW or with the WWE Network, because let's be honest, when the WWE Network came out, WWE was in flux. It wasn't very good. Their current product wasn't very good. Their pay-per-views before they changed it to PLEs weren't very good. All you really had was the archives, all the old stuff to watch. And it wasn't enough for me to justify paying for it. I had it for like 6 months, and then I was like, you know what? It's not worth it. That's not the same for AEW. MyAEW has got everything that you want on it. It's going to have shows. I'm sure they're going to come out with more shows. The thing that was uploaded on YouTube last week, I think, is a test. I think eventually they will come out with a full-on cartoon. They should put everything on there. Put BTE on there for people to watch from there if they don't watch it from YouTube. Obviously, put all your weekly shows in there. Everything should get shoveled into there, plus ROH. It is probably going to be, I'm going to go on record right now, in 1 year time, after they hit 1 year with MyAEW, the changes that they'll make on it, it will be far superior than what we ever got from the WWE Network. Going back to Double or Nothing again, I know I shared this in my last video, but I want to touch on it a little bit more detail in this video. Again, second most sold Double or Nothing, only behind 2022, which had just shy of 15,000 tickets sold. This one already has over 11,000, and only one match has been announced. That is how you book a show, TKO and WWE. AEW is kicking your ass when it comes to big shows. WrestleMania felt empty. This is going to be better than WrestleMania, and we all know that All In is going to be better than WrestleMania. It's going to kick WrestleMania's ass. Double or Nothing has Okada and Takeshita announced for the AEW International Championship. That alone will probably be better than every Mania match that happened this past weekend. These two are going to go to war. It's been a very slow burn feud. I love that it's finally happening. And I'm going to very early on predict that Takeshita will end up beating Okada for that title. But I can also see a reality where Takeshita doesn't win and then later on beats Okada when it matters even more. Let's say if Okada ever gets the AEW Championship. However, the Unified Championship, I believe, is just put away from now. You can only have it if you have the Continental and the International Championship. So what could possibly happen is if Takeshita ends up beating Okada at Double or Nothing, if he can hold on to it for a long time and then buy the Continental Classic again, if he wins the Continental Classic, he will have that unified belt. It would massively put over Takeshita. That's just an idea running off the top of my head. Either way, this is going to be one of the best matches of Double or Nothing, so it makes sense that this is already shown to be on the card. Not quite sure where we're going to go with Darby Allin for his opponent. I know, now getting into the next thing here, I know that he's facing Tommaso Ciampa, and here's an interesting stat on Ciampa. Every single time he's faced somebody for a title, his first time gunning for a title, he has won it, dating all the way back to NXT days. So Darby Allin, he's in for a tough fight right away. I love the storyline with MJF. Here's another snippet of him from his Twitter that I got off Reddit, actually. He puts 900-pound narrow stance belt squat, deep depth. Do you honestly think Darby Allin beats me in a fair fight? Grow up. He has been all over socials since losing. The crash out by MJF is great. It just furthers the storyline between him and Darby. He might win it back. Darby might not have it for very long because I feel like they're still probably wanting to have this be MJF versus Will Ospreay at All In, or Ospreay versus Omega at All In for the title if Ospreay ends up beating Darby at some point. I don't think that it'll be Darby defending at All In. As much as I love Darby Allin and he's an AEW staple, he's a pillar, I don't see him holding onto the belt for a very long time, and I don't see him defending the AEW Championship at All In Wembley this year. One last thing that I wanted to talk about in this video, Tekla a few days ago actually attacked Toru Okada and for being fired during a Stardom appearance at American Dream. It was a very surprising appearance. Tekla is phenomenal, one of the best women's wrestlers today right now, and I think she, along with a few others, are really going to have to fill the void of Toni Storm being gone for however long she's going to be gone for. We still have yet to see if it's that she's pregnant. Not quite sure what it is there, but Tekla is phenomenal, and they re-signed her recently to a long-term deal, so that is also some good news.